Welcome to the ReDEFINE podcast.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I want to share with you my thoughts and reflections on having done my first paid course. It was an amazing experience. This past weekend, I did the ReDEFINE Network Marketing event, and it went very, very well. Now that I've had a few days to kind of process and synthesize the experience, I want to share that journey with you, especially the emotional part of that journey, because I think ultimately, creators, if you're in the creator space, you're going to go through a very similar emotional journey, especially once you start doing paid offerings and paid events. So for me, the very first thing I made sure to do after it was done was to sleep in. Right, to sleep in. And I know this sounds silly, but I'm generally a light sleeper to begin with. And leading up to the event, even during the event itself, in the evenings, I found myself really having a difficult time. Obviously, there's a certain level of stress. I want to make sure everything is right, and I want to make sure that the flow is good. I was, adding things last minute and tweaking, and just refining every step of the way. So there's all of these things to juggle, and your brain is going to be firing at all cylinders. Yeah, all cylinders. That's the saying. And that's how I was, right? Like every night leading up to it, that entire week, I was having such a hard time sleeping. So and it's kind of, this is just how I work. It's not necessarily the healthiest thing. The more awake I am, the more ideas I have, the more awake it keeps me, right? So it's kind of like this feedback loop that happens, that okay, well, I have this idea, I want to tweak it, so let me get on the computer, let me get on my pen and paper and write down these notes, and let me refine the process, let me fix the slides, etc., etc. So I get caught up not only in the stress of it, but the idea cycle, and then that wakes me up even more, and then next thing you know, the sun's coming up, right? So I made sure that after it was all said and done, after the last day of the event, that I slept in the next day. I mean, part of it is I couldn't help it. I was dead tired, right? And not only was my sleep shorter than normal, but the events, the days are long themselves. I mean, I was teaching for 2 to 3 hours every day. Well, yeah, about 3 hours on average every day for those 3 days. So it was an exhausting time, and I guess the whole point of what I'm trying to say right now is take a break. Take a break. Sleeping in was just part of it, but completely unplugging from the need to be productive. Right. And I have this tendency. I know I'm always pushing, I'm always driving, I'm always kind of working towards something. I'm always trying to be as hyper efficient and productive as possible. But it's important to step away. Right. So not only just sleeping in, but in general, just taking a break from something that you've been pouring yourself into for weeks, maybe even months. It's just like, now that it's done, allow yourself a moment to breathe. It's funny too, because the day after the event, I decided to, after I woke up, right after I had slept in, I decided to drive into town and just really relax and take a day off, and go to one of my favorite spots. It's a barcade, right? It's an arcade, got some old games from the 80s, and it's a really kind of a nice place, and relatively quiet during certain nights of the week. And the night I went, it was nice, it was quiet and relatively empty, and so it was my chance to really just kind of decompress. Driving there, however, I found myself in this cycle of thinking that, okay, so I can go to this place and I can sit down and work on my computer. I can write out the next course, or I can better flesh out this and this in the course so that it's more succinct in the recorded version, et cetera, et cetera. And I like the entire 45-minute drive, I had to keep catching myself and snapping myself out of that cycle of thinking, because I had been driving and pushing and working so long to be productive and to deliver the best event that I could deliver, the best class I could deliver, that I really had a hard time shutting my brain off. It's important to do that. You have to shut your brain off, or at least turn it off, detach yourself from the work that you've just finished, right? And so, really, really important, because otherwise then you're not going to be able to actually enjoy having accomplished the thing. And that's what I allowed myself to do. That going into town, well, number one, sleeping in, and then going into town to just kind of veg out and decompress was really a form of celebrating what I had just done and what I had just accomplished. It was a major milestone. I mean, everything that I've been doing this year has led up to this moment of having a paid class. Now that I know it's done, it's feasible, and I can repeat the process. But instead of jumping into the next thing right away and again being as hyper productive as I can be, allowing myself a moment to just relish the accomplishment and celebrate it, right? So that's really really important. The next thing that I wanted to mention about it is the feeling of whether or not I delivered, right? Whether or not I delivered, and this is something that I always feel after anything that I do, whether it's an event like this, or it's a free event, or if a speaking engagement, or if I just did a training in person, whatever. Anytime that I'm on a platform and I'm serving and I'm delivering content my intention is to help. I always question myself afterwards, man, did I do a good job? Did I deliver enough content? Did I deliver content that really served the audience and served its purpose and intention? Again, it's normal. It's normal to question that. One of the things that might help is making sure that whether or not you have a replay available, making sure to record yourself when you do a live event or when you teach a class, so that way you can look at it and improve upon, right? Improve upon the process and improve upon the event, even the material. So that's for me is a good way of well, yeah, just making sure that, well, okay, so here's the real thought. And it's because it's not so much that you can change what you did, right? Right. And so if you're feeling like, if you question, if you're not sure, if you're feeling uncertain about whether or not you delivered quality content and taught to the best of your ability, then the only real thing you can do is do it better next time, right? Do it better next time. Like I really, because I've done this so long and so often, I've been in this coach and this trainer and in this teaching space for a while. Not in this sense necessarily, but I'm having had as much experience as I've had in network marketing. I always, once I'm done with a thing, I don't live there very long. Only to maybe see where I can, like I said earlier, tweak the process and improve upon it. But I don't get stuck in the what ifs and did I do good and maybe I could have done better, like for very long. Yes, the thoughts and the feelings will be there initially after I'm done, but I don't live there very long. I don't live there very long. This one being my first paid course for sure, I definitely was, ruminating on it longer than I usually do because, of course, I want to make sure people feel like they got their money's worth. But again, like the main thing to consider is just moving on as quickly as possible and improving the process moving forward, as opposed to looking back and wishing you had done things better, right? Right. So yeah, you're always going to feel like you could have done better, and that applies to everything, but move on as quickly as possible, because there's no use beating yourself up about something that you maybe could have done better or didn't do, because you can't change it. You can't change it. Once it's done, it's done. And the only thing that you can really change is what you do moving forward. Right. So those are the main things. Those are the main things of where my head's at. Now, of course, I will definitely, yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot in the process, and I'm going to continue to improve upon that process. And we'll talk about the mechanics of it tomorrow, and all the marketing that went behind it and how I got to that place where I could actually sell. But yeah, it's been really fun and incredibly rewarding. And again, the milestone, as it has been really for every piece of content or for everything that I've launched this year, the influencer masterclass, the network marketing in the digital age free seminar. Yeah, it's given me a lot. Well, it's opened up a lot of doors, right? It's a great springboard to the next step, and that iterative process really starts to kick in. So yeah, learning a lot from this process will allow me to improve upon it. Sorry, for the next one, right? For the next one. So stay tuned. Anyways, tomorrow we'll talk about the marketing and the mechanics behind it. So make sure you tune in. If you're not already subscribed and following the show, please subscribe and follow. Just hit that plus sign at the top of the app, whatever app you happen to be listening on, or if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. You'd be doing me a huge solid, and also, helping get this word out, right? If you find value in this stuff, chances are somebody else will find value in it as well. All right, so that's it for today. More from me tomorrow. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.